All right, guys. So welcome back to part two of this HVAC system. I got the box piece cleaned out. I steam cleaned it. I still got to clean it. We'll clean it a little bit more. I got microfiber towel that I'm gonna use and use some spray and just clean it out a little bit and get it nice and shiny. But I still got a lot of cleaning to do. I still got a foam and all that stuff to still clean out in a couple of parts. But majority of these flaps and stuff, I got it all cleaned. Now, it is still dirty, and I try to get it as much as possible. I know on the camera it shows like it's not very clean, but it's, I use a wire brush and I used the drill with a wire brush on it, and it kind of went too crazy with a little bit on some of the stuff. But as you try to put pressure on it, it starts to dig into it because a lot of these pieces are plastic. This is just dark. But like, I believe it's this one, like it starts to dig in there. You see that? So be careful if you're using a wire brush with a drill. I used a hand brush too with the hand wire brush on it, and I try to get it as much as possible. And this is the best I could get. But one of them, look at this piece. This is the one with the fat flap with a thick cushion on one side and thin on the other side. So this is the thin one because I remember the three dots are the thin side, and then the flat side is this one. So, and then there's the other flap, which I got to figure out which one goes where, which one just has the heavy one and which one doesn't. So the rest of these are hard plastic. This is the only one that was metal. And I haven't been through the other pieces yet, but the best way to clean these out with the old is use a scraper, number one. Number two, get what is that? The nail polish cleaner, the Acidine. I spray the shit out of it. I got one from Home Depot and spray it, and then use a scraper to get it out as much as possible. And then I started steam clean this pretty good. So this is the result. I wish all of them were the same, but they're not. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and start. What I'm gonna do is get the foam piece that I have in the box, the thick piece and the thin piece on this one, and the same thing with this one, because these two are the ones that sit in here. And there is one flap, and I believe is this flap. I want to go ahead and get this one foamed as well. The reason why is because this piece sits here, and the two flaps are sit here, and then I can go ahead and close the box. And the reason why I want to do that is because the box, as it sits by itself, it's very look at that, flimsy. So I'm afraid that I'm going to break it, and then if I break it, then that's that. I may have to start looking for another HVAC system for the car. So if you are taking it apart, go ahead, get those cleaned out first, get them all foamed and installed, and then close the box so that way that it's nice and closed. Because everything else is basically exterior pieces, like the flaps and stuff, they basically slide in. So that's how I would, that's what I'm planning on doing. So if you want to clean out everything, that's great. Knock it out all at once, but I want to go ahead and at least get this part of it all installed so that way I can start putting the side pieces in. And then like the flaps and stuff all going to come from the sides and get it all in. And then the heater core and that AC piece, it's a big open spot. So those can easily slide in. And when, with that piece, close the lid and then the bottom piece on it. So that's my approach. So I'm going to record the process as I go ahead and start taking apart the boxes and find the right pieces. And when I go ahead and start gluing in them, I'll show you exactly which pieces will go where. And we'll go from there. All right, guys. So I got the foam pieces all taken out. And there's a lot of pieces to go through. But the pieces that would go on these two flaps, I wanted to talk to you guys about before I start gluing them. So this metal flap... when you get it all cleaned up, and if you're not sure what goes what, there's three whole pieces here. You see these dark pieces. I think they're like rivet pieces with this bar that goes through. That piece is the thin side. It's this thin side, right? So, and it goes like that. That's how I had it. And then the side with, sorry, I'm like trying to record and move this aside. And another side with the long, just basically a mark is the thick foam side. So now I'm gonna confirm this. I know that's what I had. So that's how it's supposed to be. And then the ones with the dots, and now these are cut in a weird angle, as you can see, and that's how this is. Goes like that. And then the side with a lot of these, designs and sticking out pieces is where the thick side goes. Again, this is cut in a weird way. That's how this thing is. Don't get confused and freak out, but that's how they go. So now the glue that I'm using is the same glue that Ryan Scott used for his stuff, which is this. This is on Amazon, and then this is very expensive stuff. And, as me being curious, I took the cap out and tried to smell it. It's a very clear glue. Don't try to smell this thing because it does not smell good at all whatsoever. It's a very strong smell, so be careful. I tested out for everybody, the smell, and it's bad. So fair warning, don't try to smell this thing. And then I also bought this, and I think Ryan Scott mentioned this on his video, is to rub this on the metal pieces and stuff just so that it sticks better. So I might open this one up just because this is a metal piece and everything is just plastic pieces. So, and then I'll apply the glue and get it on there, and hopefully it's, I'm gonna probably just glue the crap out of it all over on this, and then possibly a little bit on this, and then hopefully sticks, and we should be good there. So once I get this done, I'll record it, and then I'll show you guys how it's on that piece. And then there's another flap that I gotta look. This one, I gotta go through the foam pieces and find the same. So every piece in here is designed for the flap, right? So actually I found the piece. Is it this one? There we go. It's that one. See? Every piece is designed to fit the pieces that it's supposed to associate it with. So when you get that whole bag and it's got like a million pieces in there, don't freak out. They all have the unique foam piece that goes with it. So look at that. This one fit perfectly, and that's how it's supposed to be. So this one, I'm gonna go ahead and glue it. And then there's another piece in here. Let me see if I can just find it. Is it this one? Look at that. And it goes like that. So found both the pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and glue this and go glue all these 3 flaps, and I'm gonna go ahead and start putting that together. And then see how far I can get to it today with just the parts that I've cleaned, and then everything else should be the outsider parts that I'm gonna go ahead and take my time either later today or tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. All right, guys, so I had to move downstairs in the garage. I highly recommend you guys do this in the garage or outside, or someplace that you don't got kids around you and it's open space and you're able to breathe. I didn't realize this shit actually gives you warning and stuff. I'm an idiot for not reading it. Don't breathe this in, and be careful because your eyes do get somewhat starts to burn from the fumes for when you start applying it. So I got my eyewear on, but just be careful. And the second you put the glue on, put it someplace far away. This one's, I got it on both sides. As I was applying it, the shit started burning my eye upstairs when I was in my office doing it. So I quickly ran downstairs and, brought everything because I got kids upstairs and I don't want to start messing around with this upstairs because, it's got fumes and so my eyes were starting to burn, so all that stuff. So I brought all 3 pieces downstairs. I'm going to start gluing them. Just FYI, don't do the shit in the closed room or anything like that. So I left my window open in my office and let cold air come in and let all that fume out. Do this in the garage, outside, someplace safe, away from kids, away from everybody. And even yourself, when you apply it, get it on here, push it, put it far away, because this is no joke. All right? All right, so this flap is installed along with the fat cushion ones. They're both in there. And I put them together and they are all screwed in. So now there's less flexible ability here for it and less prone to crack, and so that's why the reason why I wanted to put it together before they ended up, you know, accidentally getting stepped on. Now, these are the 3 things that needed to be installed before you can put this top piece with the bottom piece. Now everything else should be able to be just slide in, and then from the top, and then just you know, the plastic pieces that you're taking out to just go in to lock it in. So the metal pieces, they're all on both sides. This is all in. Remember, the fat pieces on each side should be towards the heater core, and heater core sits right here with the bracket and everything here. So, and then this all gets put together once you have all the flaps in. So I got one of them in, and I got, you know, flaps in there. So that's how it looks. So I'm gonna go ahead and start putting that together, and I'll take a what's it called? These pieces right here. These are 4 pieces. This one and this one goes on the other side of those 2 middle pieces, and then so all these gets installed. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this installed, and then I'll show you exactly how they look, so that way you guys can see the function of the pieces on the car, on the HVAC piece itself. Alright guys, so this is done, the one side of it. So flap on the other part of it, when you mess around with it, this is how it's supposed to look. Then this part, see how that's opening. So when you put this piece in, right, this is how it's supposed to clip in. And then this part, I had a little confusion. So make sure that when you install it, do actually apply this white lithium grease. I got this from AutoZone actually, and I applied it pretty much all over the place here, on here. Anything that's basically going to be moving, I applied some underneath it here. So make sure that when you install it back, it's actually flush. It's sitting flush, because this was sticking out a little bit, and then when I pushed it down just enough like this with the hand, this pushed in somehow as I was turning it. So just make sure that this is pushed in all the way. It's not sitting in a weird angle or sticking out like this way when you're screwing this in. So just make sure it sits in flush, and then don't mess around with this with adjustment wise and stuff like that. I didn't touch anything, so this is based off factory, and if you start turning and stuff like that, then you're gonna have a hard time figuring out, well, what's the length and stuff. So all right, so the next part of what I'm working on is the next 2 flaps. Went to the foam bag, got the pieces out. Now this is how this piece is gonna go, like this on this looking flap, and then this one's got holes in it, matches this one. Again, all of them are pre-cut, based off the flaps and the things that are in the HVAC system itself. This one, again, it looks just like that. It's pretty, I mean, you're not going to be able to not miss this. So, and then this one, it's a little different. It's got 3 pieces. From the video that I saw, the person who originally created this, it looks just like this. You just basically got to put it like a puzzle. Now, the downside is I was actually trying to find another solution for, aside from this, because this thing smells really bad and it's been burning my eyes too. So yeah, I tried to go to Home Depot and try to find something industrial strength, and then I ended up finding the Gorilla Glue, and that thing said cancer on the back. So I was like, yeah, I don't want to deal with it. So I'm still gonna try to put up with this, but just be careful. I'm gonna go ahead, apply this, put it someplace away from everybody, and then let it dry for a couple of hours, and then I'll come back and reinstall it again. So just want to make a video on the 2 flaps and the foam pieces that are going to go on there. Okay, so I got 2 of the flaps installed after sealing up the foam. I did have to go back and reapply some glue more on this one, and let it sit for like about an hour or so. But I got the piece in. Again, I applied a lot of grease on each end, so I put some in there, and I put also some in here wherever these pieces connect, and then this is how it's supposed to be. when you try to go back to go ahead and install it. And then this flap, the one thing I don't like about this is the fact that there is open gaps here on these flaps. I don't know why. I mean, I'm sure it's made from factory. There's a little bit of here still needs to be done. So I'll probably apply some and let it sit, cure itself. But it's on there pretty good. Flaps open. So you see the little holes within the foam that goes inwards, and the one that's full flat, it goes outwards. So when you're trying to go ahead and install this, that's how it's supposed to look. So I'm gonna go ahead and start putting these pieces together. Again, look at that. I applied a good amount. So make sure you're applying some grease so that, because these are pieces that are gonna be moving. And I start putting all these pieces together just so that they're all connected. And so this part is done. And then I ended up cleaning. I was having a hard time with this one. I was trying to take this out and somehow started destroying a little bit. So I couldn't get this piece out. So I went ahead, just cleaned it just like that instead of taking it out, and sprayed some of that fluid. So got a good enough clean done compared to what it was before. It was pretty much black and covered in dirt and God knows what else. So this is all clean. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this installed, and then once all these pieces, this piece is installed, that piece is installed, I'm gonna start working over on some of these big pieces that are very simple to install that are gonna be going outer part, and then I'm gonna start cleaning that up and then start installing the foam pieces, whatever pieces go on there, and then see how far I get to it. Hopefully today. This is like a multiple day, you know, one piece, taking it out, resealed, and then putting it back on the car. So I'll follow up with you guys shortly once I get all this installed and that installed, just so you guys can see exactly how it's put back together. All right, so the bracket is installed. This breather thingy is installed as well, and then all the mechanics installed for the flaps. So this, as you can see, it works. Same thing with the bottom. So the one thing you want to make sure you focus on is getting all these pieces in the right places. Like I had said in the beginning when I took it apart, make sure you mark them, because a lot of these are not going to go back to their particular places, right? So like this one, the number one has to go here, number two, and then there's a black one. So make sure that when you're taking it apart, make sure they go back in the same spot. So this piece, and then there's a black piece, right? So when you go to install it, make sure you get this piece on there. After you get the flaps installed, get this piece back there, and then install this. And this is how I did it. So I had this up, pointing this way up, and then make sure that once you install, just align them in here and here, and then it gets all the way up top, right? And then again, make sure to grease everything. Screw it, once it goes in, screw that in all the way. And then there is another piece behind here, which is another bracket that is for this piece right here to move around. So that's the screw right there. And then make sure you get that in. And then similar situation for this one, you get the bracket in. This, I didn't take it apart. I just had this connected to this big black piece, and then I just basically get this installed, get it in its location, and then get this in there and just get it, make sure that flaps is closed or wherever it needs to be. And once you get that and all secure, everything should just work how it's supposed to be. It's gonna be feels a little hard because you got new seals flat, on these flaps, but I think should be fine. Again, I greased them all up, and then I'm able to do it, turning and all that stuff. So that's pretty much it for this end. I just got to get the motor piece on there, which is that for the mechanic part that goes on here to control the flaps. Once I get this on, I'm gonna go ahead and install the fan on, and then I'm gonna go ahead and clean this. I think this is a resistor or something. Oh shit. I'm just gonna go ahead and clean this part out, and I think this is ready to go on back on the HVAC itself. So like all this stuff, I'm just gonna go wire brush it, and then put this back on after I install the fan, and then everything else I'm gonna go ahead and start. You know, I have to take this apart, reseal it, and then all this stuff, like little pieces here and there, need to start taking it apart and then reseal it and go from there. But I wanted to get majority of this stuff done, which is getting the flaps installed, the mechanics part of it, and then put this piece together, just so that way that I'm not gonna accidentally break it, because it is very flimsy. So that's for this part. So I'm gonna go ahead and start working on that, and then I'll show you guys how it's installed and how it starts to look. All right, guys, so I don't know where exactly I left off, but I ended up taking this apart and resealing it with a new foam. And then, of course, I greased it, the ends of it, just so that because it was a moving part, I want to make sure that it's properly greased. And then I ended up not taking these out because there's no actual foam replacements for these parts, and they're not deteriorating, so I just left it like this. I ended up cleaning that piece, I ended up cleaning this piece, and of course I left the foam on again, like I said. And then God knows what else. Oh, probably gonna keep that white piece the way it is because it's not deteriorating, but the black piece I might have to clean it up a little bit. And then I don't know what the hell's going on with that one. So I'm gonna start installing a lot of these stuff. That piece, oh, actually, I don't know if I showed you guys. This piece got new seal. New seal on. So everything's back on here. That's how it looks. Again, all greased up, ready to go. So this piece goes up here like this. Yeah. So I was gonna go ahead and screw that in, but I wanted to get everything else that goes underneath here, and then the only piece that needs to go on here is the heater core, and then the AC part of it, and which I need to go ahead and put the seal inside on this part, I believe, and then something along there, and then I'm gonna leave this the way it is. I just gotta clean it up with some air. This part is very nicely installed. It's not deteriorating or anything like that, so I want to keep it as is because I don't want to touch it. I feel like the second I start touching something, it's gonna be a big of an issue just trying to get the new stuff on there. So I think this is good to go. I don't want to touch it. I am gonna go ahead and clean the fins and stuff. There's some dirt like coming out of it, like leaves and stuff, so I want to go ahead and blow this with the nice air, and then clean this plastic piece and this plastic piece, and I think we should be good to go. I think this goes like on the bottom part of this. So I need to go through the pictures. I'm gonna go ahead and start putting everything together as much as I can because I need to get this out of my office. So stay tuned. All right, guys. So I figure I'm like starting to put everything together. I'm kind of halfway into this, and I'm just like stop recording and showing you guys updates. But I figured I'd quickly make one because I don't want this video to be all over the place. Number one, I broke something, and I just need you guys to be, oh shit. Okay, there we go. I broke that tab, and I'm very frustrated because I was trying to force this little metal bar into that little tab over here instead of maybe undoing this part and just pulling it and pushing it in here. I pushed it in there and I'm forced enough to break that little tab. I don't know how I did it. I guess these things are not sturdy. So I drilled some 2 holes here and then did some zip ties, loops and stuff like that. And it works. It does work. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it. Actually, let me show you guys. Look at this. Let me see if I can do this with one hand. So I'm going to... Yes, sir. Now I'm gonna mess this up. Let me get this installed. Okay, here we go. So that's that. What I'm gonna do is now is use a glue gun and just glue the crap out of this area and just make sure it's locked in. And then hope for the best. In the meantime, I am gonna start looking for another piece like this if needed before I actually install this Havoc piece all completely on the car. Which is probably going to be around sometime December. late December. So in the meantime, if I do end up finding this white piece, that'd be great. I might just have to do a custom foam install for this, and just, or if I just find this flap with that little piece, and then I'll just get a foam on Amazon and just custom cut it and then make it work, make something work. So that's basically what happened. Number two, I'm not taking this out. I think I mentioned this, and I'm gonna go ahead and get this installed in here. I did get one of these foams in here from the kit, and there's some couple of them that I may not need it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start putting this together and start. I already started putting, this piece in here, this piece, and this piece, and there's another piece that goes here. So I want to get this piece installed and start putting this together and get this out of my room. So I'm basically almost done, and just this part is where this white piece goes on. So once I glue that, I'm just going ahead and install it. If I do end up not finding it, I know that'll work. It's not like it's going to be abused in the car where there's a lot of, back and forth, back and forth. I don't know which portion. I think they might controlled the windshield from this part of it, I think. So I'm sure it'll work. I'm just a little upset. So don't make the same mistake that I did. And a lot of people don't talk about their mistakes and stuff. So I fucked up. So that's my mistake. But other than that, yeah, I'm almost pretty much done putting it together. So I'm going to go ahead and install this AC piece on here. And then a couple of plastic pieces that I have left, like that, and some of the stuff here. And then what's left to do is install that heater core, which is in my garage, which I still got to clean. And then little pieces like that and that, I got to take the seals off and then oil seal off and then put it back, install the new ones. And I think I should be good to go. So just wanted to show you guys my little F up. So, yeah. All right, so everything is, well, almost majority of the stuff is back on. Started putting the sensors back on. This is all connected. I kind of glue this a little bit. Kind of very frustrated because all this is going in a Mark IV and I wanted everything to be done correctly. And I'm trying to look for another flap and I'm unable to find it. So again, I'm still gonna leave this pretty much completed and put it somewhere until I find a flap. If I don't, then sometimes in December I'm gonna start putting this back into the car and start putting the car together. So I got the AC condenser or whatever that piece is called, AC cooler piece. It's back in the box, and then now I wanted to talk to you guys about this. Take a minute. Now the cooler, this cooler thingy, the heater core, I'm sorry, is, now you don't really need to, when you take yours out and if the seals are everything good on here, you don't need to, I recommend you don't touch this. Now you see I did touch it. I installed the side pieces and then top, but I didn't get it around, so I'm just leaving it like this. But if yours is good, don't touch it. Mine was good, except the side piece was not, one side was not good, so I could have just got away with just replacing the side pieces, but my dumbass decided to take all of them out. And look at this is all glue, all dried up, and the bottom piece was not good connecting at all. So it's a weird piece, but instead what I did was I glued it on there. This thing was impossible for some reason for me to glue it on the bottom of this heater core. And you can't find another heater core from factory. This product is discontinued. So if this is in good condition, I said don't touch it. And if the seal is bad on, like, let's say just on the side, just replace the side pieces. But if the bottom one's good and the top's around the, on the sidebar over here is good, then leave it the way it is. Now you can find aftermarket heater core from Supertronics. I believe it's out of Europe, but things like $360 or something shipped to US. So it's the only company that I know that I looked online, tried to see if I can find a replacement, and you really can't find the factory replacement. So make sure that your heater core is good to go, even if it's a good product. And try to not mess with it. So I kind of did, and I did ended up putting the side pieces on, which is good, right? Again, these ones I cut, they were a little longer. I cut it just enough. But I wanted to take a minute to talk to you about this, that if you can't get it on the bottom, just glue it on here, inside here. Now I did this while everything was all closed up and stuff, so you can, if you have small enough hands, I mean I don't, but I had to force it in there. But yeah, it's glued in there pretty good. So just to keep in mind that if you can't get it on the bottom of the heater core, do it what I did. So now I really want to make sure that this is working fine, because I did put a lot of glue back there so nothing is stuck. So nothing is stuck. All you need to do is just put this heater core in and just slide it. Great. I'm gonna need 2 hands, and the thing is, these side pieces are gonna be slowly have to be pushed in. So try to use 2 hands and get them in there and nice and tucked. So I'm gonna try to put the camera down and get this put in, and then I'll show you guys with everything back together on this car. All right, so heater core's in. I actually mentioned that I was putting it back in the car, but I'm not really putting it back in the car. I'm putting it back in the box. You have to force this a little bit in. The 2 side pieces do stick out, so you want to make sure that you slowly push it in enough and just wiggle it. And it may take some time, and you may have to apply some force. As you can see, it's forced in there. So. And then this one's sticking out. I'm going to try to see if I can wiggle it just enough in there. But as you can tell, on this side, it's kind of sliding in, and this one is not. So again, you may have to force a little bit in. I had to force this down. It is sticking out. So when you go to clamp it down with the screws, just be careful. I do have to keep that in mind, so I do got to dig into the pictures and figure out how everything goes back on here. And then I'm going to try to use a flathead and wiggle that in. Do wear gloves, because the glue is still going to come out a little bit. I don't think this is completely dried. And then wear protective eyewear. I did not, and I just got a little whiff of the glue, and then my eyes started burning, so just be careful. So I'm gonna go ahead and start putting this together. I'm gonna get all the pieces. I gotta look through the pictures and figure out how everything goes back on here. And then I'm gonna start putting the harness back pieces and everything on the way it's supposed to be. I think everything's on the car, or on the box, I'm sorry. Except I gotta reseal this, and I gotta reseal that. And then I think I'm good to go. Then put that piece back on here once I get all these pieces on here. So I gotta go through all the mechanics pieces, the sensors and all that stuff, the motor pieces, get them on here, and then we're good to go. Hey guys, so I figured I'd finish up this video because I've been holding off for a while. It's already a new year, and I guess this video will be posted for the new year to start off the year. So remember the part that I had broken on this this flap itself? Well, I got it 3D printed. This cost me about $100. This is the second copy. The first copy, the key part, which is this part inside when you put it in, wasn't lining up properly, so he had to reprint because he incorrectly printed it. But this actually turned out pretty good. Exactly how the factory one looks like. I did not put any seal like the foam part of it, just because I don't think it actually necessarily needs it. The one thing that I did notice is this part right here. You see how it's moving? If I wiggle it out enough, it comes out by itself. But I kind of want to tell him to reprint it and make it a slightly little small hole. But I don't think this thing is going to be aggressively opening and closing. So I think it should be fine. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. And then I also want to share this piece with you. I did buy this piece off eBay. I believe it was about $15 or so, maybe less, maybe more, or slightly a little more. This is for what Ryan Scott did on his HVAC. Basically cut up the hole and put an air filter, because the Mark IV HVAC does not come with the air filter. So this was pretty nice. I did it on my car as well. The one thing you do need to be careful is when you do use a cutter, don't go crazy with it like I did. So, but it should be fine. This goes in just like that. Let's see if I can get it with one hand. So it goes in like that. So, and then the hardware you get with it looks like that. So it just goes in. So, came out pretty good. I'm just about to go ahead and bolt everything back up so this HVAC is completely done. Again, I am kind of going back and forth with this, but I think I'm leaning on just leaving it the way it is because I don't want to mess with it even more. So, I mean, it opens and closes. So, stay tuned. Let me go ahead and bolt everything back up, and then let me finally completed this video so I can go ahead and upload it. All right, so I figured I'd stop here for 1 second and record this part. There is 2 filters that come with this. Somebody had posted this. I think it may have been Ryan Scott. It's this part number. It's for the Toyota Lexus. And they come in like 2 pieces. Do be careful when you put it in. I put it in with this piece out. When you put it in, put the top one in as well. I don't even think I can get this out. Maybe I can. I don't want to wiggle it and break something. But they stack on each other. And then they are kind of, you do got to wiggle it in there carefully. It's not going to move. So yeah, just be careful when you're putting this in. I think this is how it goes. I'm just going to go put everything on. I just wanted to take a second to show you exactly how I have it in there. There's 2 filters. Even though that like this piece is like, you know, pretty small, but the filter goes all the way down up to here. So I think this is how it's supposed to be, because you can't put a big giant filter. This makes no sense, because then you have a little piece. So if you ever want to service it, then how would you even get it out? So I think they're supposed to be like this, 2 pieces, and then when you ready to service it, I think you pull this out, wiggle it, and then you gotta lift this and then pull it out, and then same thing, put it back in, and then put the other one in back in. So I think this is how it is. I'm gonna confirm it with other people as well who's done it, but yeah, I wanted to take a second and show you. So, and now I'm about to go ahead and install this piece, and that's how it's supposed to look. All right, guys, so this is all done, and everything's back to where it is. This piece was wrong, so I just had to flip it over. So this is pretty good and sturdy, so I'm not even tripping about me trying to get this reprinted again for that little particular hole. So this is good to go. Everything's good. Everything's bolted back on. The filter's back in. You do get instructions. I do realize that. Again, this is for, I believe, Lexus, like it says. But very similar setup. It does say to slide it in with both. So that's exactly what I did. So, but I'm going to still go ahead and confirm that with that filter with everybody else before I go ahead and put this back on the car. I just wanted to finish this video and load this up. And this will be my first video of the year for 2025. So, nice way to start this off with the HVAC that's completely done and clean and resealed. So I'm very excited to put this back on the car. I just got to order some new parts, like the sound deadening and stuff, before I can start installing this. And then I also got to order some other stuff for the MK4 before I can go ahead and put this back in the car. So exciting stuff coming in 2025, guys. Stay tuned. But I just wanted to complete this video. So here it is. HVAC is done. Hopefully this video and the other video that I took apart the HVAC system helps for those who are actually trying to take the HVAC apart and reseal it and put it back on the car. So again, just be careful when you do this. Take your time with it. Don't rush like I did and broke that little piece. I do got to get that CAD file, so in case somebody goes through a very similar issue, I have that file. I have that file so that people can be able to reprint, 3D print, and all that stuff. So I'm gonna try to get hold of that. But on that, thanks for watching, guys. Happy New Year, and hopefully, please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to grow my channel as much as possible with the info, and hopefully the MK4 build will help out a lot of people in the future. Thank you. Happy New Year.